Hello, this is a tarot general reading for Aries for the month of February 2017. Good to see you guys. Thank you for coming back, if you're back, and welcome if you're new. I'll go ahead and get right into your reading today. Uh, a very contiguous or solid message here for you today. For your current situation, we have the Seven of Coins. Now, the Seven of Coins is about a completion of cycles. You actually have a really common theme of the completion of cycles here today. Um, in particular, the Seven of Coins has this sort of energy about it that you've invested a lot of energy into something, and now it's time for you to sort of sit back and reap the rewards. Or there's sometimes a little bit of frustration associated with it, where you're waiting on it to come and expecting it to come, and that can cause it can cause you to be frustrated because you feel like you've put in the work and it's just not come off yet. But overall, there's a general feeling of abundance here, that everything's going to be fine, despite any temporary frustrations or anything like that. What's influencing you or crossing you is the Four of Wands, which is, again, a very similar idea of completion of cycles, of achievement, fulfillment, home, that type of good quality emotions. But these things also signify the end of a cycle, which is important. And I feel like that's coming up a lot, or coming through pretty clearly here. There might be a sense of it's not necessarily that you're not wanting to move on. It's that you're having trouble moving on because your mind was very, very much in a different mindset than you're being asked to assume going forward. What got you here was the King of Cups, which is someone who has a lot of control and balance over their emotions. They don't get upset too easily or anything like that. So you've really controlled yourself and got you to a place where you're in a good, or have been in a good position, but you feel maybe as though there's something else now that needs to be done, and it's kind of all about making a choice at this point. What's in your future is the Hangman. This suggests that this whole situation is inevitable, it's unavoidable, it will occur, regardless of whether you want it to or not. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you accept it, you change the nature of it so it doesn't become an unpleasant thing. It becomes something that helps you grow, that helps you get from A to B. And so there's always a lesson that can be learned from anything that you go through. What we have as the foundation for this is an over-encumberment, or the Ten of Wands here. And you can see the figure trying to hold all of those wands, and there's one, in the tail, and then there's one falling on the ground. So it's just saying that, and one thing that this card particularly, I love the illustration, because what it really gets across is it takes quite a bit of skill to hold that extra wand with your tail there, even with all that huge bundle of sticks in your hands. So try not to feel bad about that one wand right there not being able to be picked up. It's just the nature of how things work. Everything is balanced. You can't do everything. You can't be a good husband, a good father, and like an amazing businessman or something like that. Those people have to devote themselves, or more of their life energy, to those endeavors. Some people get lucky, yes, but be careful not to take an outlier as the archetype of what you're trying to accomplish, because you're setting yourself up for failure by doing that. You have to find realistic visions of what types of people have what types of jobs and life situations, and figure out who you really would like to emulate. That way you can work toward uncovering who you are, who you really are. In the higher thoughts, in your crowning thoughts, we have the King of Coins, which suggests that, again, you've been, so the King of Coins represents sort of a good dominating understanding and balance of material needs and concerns, and the environment around him. He's very adept at sort of making the best of what is in the world already. It's not so much as opposed to bringing a new creative vision into the world, right? So you've been working with what you had, and you've done a masterful job of it. You've built something or done something great or put away some savings or something like that, and now it is time for you to move on. So your current advice for the situation is the World, which is all about, well, in some ways it's about like full God realization, the end of a karmic cycle, but it's, again, the end of the cycle, where I'm almost surprised that I didn't see the Death card in this reading, because it's the end of one period and the beginning of something new, you know? And this is what has to happen continuously through your life, so it's not necessarily as bad as you may think it is. But I get the idea that this is something that you have a little bit of a choice about anyway, as far as how it's going to progress. It's going to happen regardless. You are going to have to move on. You can't stay here forever. But you can make a choice to make this a little bit easier than it could be, you know. But that's all up to you, from what I understand. Now, for your current environment, we have the Lovers, which it could mean that what you would think, that you have like some dear, caring partner or something in your current environment who's here supporting you through all this stuff that you're going through, or these feelings and all that. But it also means sort of grand scale choices. So there are big things happening in your current environment that you're going to have to make some decisions on, or maybe not big things happening, but there are big things that you need to make decisions on that will greatly affect your environment. You know, there are some things that you've been putting on the back burner a little bit that are going to come out, and they're going to really shake things up. And that's kind of where you're coming to right now. You've done everything else. That's kind of all that's left for you to sort out. So that's what's coming. And we're showing your fears card here as the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords represents sort of a painful transition. And the painful transition is something that is often necessary. I mean, almost always it's necessary, and it's not always the most pleasant thing to go through. It's something that you believe is going to be, or you're thinking about the negatives about. You know what I mean? So when we're optimistic about a new idea, we have a way of mentally attenuating the negatives, the cons to the situation, and thinking about the pros, which gives us this effect of the grass is always greener on the other side, because you're automatically going to think about all the benefits of an alternate situation to your own, but you're not going to think immediately about the drawbacks, about the cons, you know. So it's always going to look like whatever somebody else is doing, or whatever somebody else's way is going to look better, you know. I mean, that is to say, in the same way, it will occur in the negative. Other people's lives will look worse, you know, but it's still sort of the same process occurring, but just in the negative, you know, the same psychological process of gauging oneself based on the lives of other people, which it's not really possible to do because you're not inside their skin. You're not looking at the world through their eyeballs with all their memories and all those things. So the painful transition is just, you know, it's something that you're going to have to go through, whether you want to or not. You know, it's like pulling teeth a little bit, or, you know, like losing baby teeth. Maybe it's unpleasant for a moment and you got like one of those hangers and it hurts, but pops out and then you got your adult teeth and you're ready to go. It's not the sort of energy of losing an adult tooth. So it's that sort of thing that's occurring. And for your overall message, it leads us to the Ace of Wands. And What this is saying again is like a new opportunity, a creative spark or something. So this is sort of the uptick at the end of this. What it's saying is, even though all this is, there's something about the situation that you're really going to miss, that this is coming to a close, there is something really, really good in the future. Like there's an opportunity for you to make some really positive changes that you've wanted to make for a long time. So this is going to be nothing but a good thing for you if you learn how to embrace, to catch on. I like this card too because the character is sort of like riding this lion thing. I don't know what it is, but it's got this attitude of like riding a bull almost. Like you got to grab it by the horns and take off. And it's your own psyche that's creating that energy. So you're the metaphorical bull that you have to hang on to, but you just have to learn to follow your intuition and to understand where this creative spark is going and how it's supposed to be applied, not squander it. A lot of times we get this creative inspiration and then we immediately go waste it on something that kills it, and society has conditioned us to do that in a way. For example, like, let's think about like playing a video game or something like that, right? Now, nobody's going to say that there are not values to playing video games. There are certainly values to playing video games. But often the values that you get from playing video games are marketed to you as something that you're going to get. But you can get that anywhere else. You can get that in real life. You can get that from interacting with other people. So you're not really getting what they're telling you you're getting. They're selling you a product, and that product is sort of a really poor excuse for something that you already have in real life. You know what I mean? Like something that you can already do. And it's really just sort of alchemy. It's a synthesis. Every creation, every invention is simply taking like pros and cons from different ideas and putting them together, sticking them together like a Frankenstein, and so, all that is to say that your creative spark, it's really powerful because it can sort of mold the world to your vision of reality, your vision of heaven. So use it. This is the way that you move forward. This is the way that you ascend. This is the way you get toward heaven, that kind of thing. So enjoy it. Don't get hung up on the old process that was working for you, because now you're in a new time and something new is required. So hang on to that and don't get lost, But that's all I have for you today. Very good reading. Straightforward. Got through it pretty quick. So it's a pretty straightforward and contiguous reading, like I said. If you have any questions or concerns about it, please leave them in the comments and I'll try to address them. And maybe incorporate your suggestions into the next video. But thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.